In the meantime, I'm delighted to say that here to set up the evening with me is a man my children really hated as the villain in the brilliant Spy Kids. They really hated as the villain in Josie and the Pussycats, but they really loved as the sexually predatory hotel registrar in Eyes Wide Shut. Actor, novelist and director, Scotland's own Mr. Alan Cumming. That was sort of an attempt at a joke there, because they didn't see us.
Of course not, no. They weren't born, were they?
No, I think they were born, they just weren't allowed in. This is a big night here in the town, and I've just noticed when I was out earlier shopping, I was wandering around, everyone's talking about it, all the hotels are having parties, even, you know, the unofficial parties, everyone's doing something. It really kind of takes over the whole city, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just bonkers, actually. I knew it was going to be a big thing. This is the first time I've been in town for it, but it's just ridiculous, you know. It's such an industry city, so something like this just sets everyone into a frenzy.
Of course, it's a great night for Brits over here. Potentially even greater night than we realise at the moment. Why do you think there have been so many British nominees?
I think there's just been some really good British films that have, you know, well, there's always really good British films, but they don't always catch on here. And especially with Robert Altman, you know, the combination of a British film with an American director, and Iris doing so well. I don't know, it's just kind of one of these years where we've slipped under the net somehow.
Do you think, I mean, is there the case whereby kind of Academy voters sort of like to vote for British people because they feel it gives it a certain class?
Yeah, there's definitely a big Anglophile thing in Hollywood. I mean, if you're European in any way, you've got much more chance, I think, of just getting a job apart from an award. So that's got a lot to do with it. And yeah, it's to do with the kind of inferiority complex I think Americans have about sort of, you know, classy things. So that's good.
Yeah, well, let's keep that going if we can. Let me ask you about the speeches, because I know you've won a few awards in your time, not an Oscar yet.
No.
But I know Tony recently.
Robbed.
Several others. It must be tough knowing what to say when you get up there to make your speech. And of course the Oscars, they're very tough on trying to keep speeches as tight as possible. I think 45 seconds is what they ask people to remain within.
Really?
When you're making a speech like that, I mean, is it best to prepare in advance? Do you think the people this evening will all have prepared something?
Oh yeah, because it's so nerve-wracking. I mean, I don't think people realise how awful it is, because you kind of want to win the award, but at the same time when they're announcing the thing, you're terrified that you're going to have to go walk, you know, in your big suit and everything, and get up the steps and kiss someone and hold the thing and then talk to the viewing millions. It's really, really scary, but so I think they've all prepared, but also I think they should let people, you know, I think people should say, I'm going to thank all the people that I want to thank later. I'll call them tomorrow, and then say something, you know, more interesting. Because when it's just a big list of people's names that you don't know, it's really boring.
Although sometimes, I remember last year when Julia Roberts won, and it was such a kind of genuine moment. I mean, she seemed so genuinely excited. It was so nice to see like that I thought actually made the evening work and was more special.
Well, she's enchanting, and it's easier when you're Julia Roberts and it's the best actress. But when it's like, you know, best sound effects or something, you're less prone to think it's cute, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's some man with specs that you've never heard of.
Although that's the award I'm most looking forward to. What do you think about, for example, we have Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be winning this evening. His chances may well have been affected adversely by certain things that happened back in the UK.
I think they have been, you know, because everyone's talking about it. I mean, I think one thing is that people are really lazy here. So, you know, he's won everything else. So people just sort of think, oh, that's the thing that's going to win this year, and they keep voting. But this punching that man thing really has sort of been the talk of the town.
This punching that man thing?
Yeah.
Well, if they were that unspecific about it, then I'm surprised it's coming anyway.
And the poem thing, you know. Although I think they quite like the poem thing because it's got a sort of a virtuous literary thing going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's an open book, the best actor. I don't think Russell's a fait accompli that we thought.
Do you and other performers, that is, do you talk about this a lot? I mean, do you pass your opinion around one another, or are you circumspect, bearing in mind that you're probably going to wind up working with all of these people at some stage?
Well, I'm an Academy voter, actually.
Are you really?
Yes. But you're not supposed to say, of course I tell everybody, but you know...
You're not supposed to say who you voted for, or the fact that you're a voter?
No, you're not allowed to say who you voted for.
Right, okay.
But I didn't vote for Russell. But I think people are really, I mean, I think I get a bit bored by it all, you know, because it's so much, the last few months, it's all about awards. So I try to, you know, change the topic of conversations when people talk about it.
You know, we were talking about Russell Crowe here, and he's kind of, obviously he himself is aware of the possible damage that his reaction to the BAFTA speech being cut has done him over here.
I mean, this is one of the ways that I think Hollywood is so crappy, that something like this, when somebody who's like probably had a few drinks and is pissed off about something and does something kind of violent, it becomes big huge news, and it keeps becoming big huge news, and in a way he has you know, Hollywood is obsessed with redemption in the movies, and Russell's kind of like redeeming himself by calling up a little boy who's obviously thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
But do you think that would have had an impact on voters? You said you probably weren't going to vote for him anyway, I get the feeling.
No,
Right,
I'm not
okay,
a big
so-
fan of that film.
So there you go. So you weren't going to vote anyway, so it wouldn't have affected you. But do you think people who might have been voting for Beautiful Mind would have heard the news coverage, would have thought about it and decided to vote against him, or would it really not affect
I
that?
think that he has a bit of a reputation, even before this BBC man, he has a bit of a reputation of being kind of an, you know, oiky, noisy brute. And so it can only have made that worse. I mean, the whole bit, like, with phoning the little boy and redeeming himself, I hadn't heard of that, so I don't think that will have made an effect, so...
Okay.
But, you know, it's only a film.
You know, the first award up that we're going to see when the ceremony itself starts is Best Supporting Actress.
Yes.
Which I'm really very, very keen to
Yeah,
find
me
out.
too.
Because, I mean, that's I think, a close-fought competition this year. Here's what some of the contenders in that category had to say on the subject, including Golden Globe winner Jennifer Connelly, the favourite according to the Vegas bookmakers, but starting with 6-time nominee and double Oscar winner, our very own Dame Maggie Smith. Dame Maggie, she's terrific, isn't
I
she?
love her.
She was on the plane coming out with me.
Is she?
And I was so flustered that I banged my head on her overhead compartment, which I think was
What
the
were you
first...
doing? Straddling her?
Well, you know, didn't know what to do with myself. Who do you think? Can I ask you to stick your neck out? Who do you think is going to win Best Supporting Actress before we get to the show?
Well, I think probably Jennifer Connelly is going to win, because I think The Beautiful Mind has got such a big marketing budget behind it, apart from anything else. So, and she's very good, but I'll be sad if that is the truth.
So who would you like to see win?
I would actually like to see Helen Mirren win. I think she's so great. She's also got a good thing because she's been nominated before, and you know, so you know, the body of work thing might work for her.
Yeah.
I think Maggie Smith is fantastic, of course, but she doesn't seem to be, just picking up on the vibe here, she doesn't seem to be as much of a favourite as Helen.
You know, but it does seem to. I mean, although the money seems to be on Jennifer Connelly, it does seem like it's anyone's game. doesn't it?
Yeah, and Kate Winslet,
Yeah.
you know, she's really great in it. I mean, it's a really strong category, I think. Can't remember it being... Also, there's the Marissa... Is she Marissa Tomei as
Marissa
well?
Tomei as well, yeah.
See, she's got a lot going for her, because...
You basically just said that you want all of them to win now. I think you've just covered you've
I
covered
want
yourself
Helen.
magnificently. You're sure?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
being
you're
very,
gonna
very
stick with that.
political.
Although you then went on to
Helen
list all of them
Mirren.
and say how great they are, which is why people love you, obviously.
Exactly.
Okay, well, Alan, stick around. You're going to stick around, I hope,
All right.
because just around half an hour to go now until the curtain goes up on the show of shows. And here's what's going down on the red carpet right now as the big stars arrive. And before you say anything, yes, one of the presenters did used to be married to Brian Tilsley from Coronation Street.
Is that true?